Big discussion point among a lot of conservatives I know right now. Who's going to be the opposition leader? Is it really going to be Joe Biden? Do people believe that that's where we're heading? It feels like the reason that I'm not confident saying it won't be Biden is that I made a mistake. And Clay, I will admit this. I assumed at the beginning of the Democrat primary that they wouldn't be so reckless as to put a guy who was always submediocre and is now clearly way past his political prime in terms of his abilities and his acuity, we'll say. But they voted for him anyway. So, I the first time around, I got surprised. And I wasn't the only one. I think Tucker also said early on, there's no way it could be Joe Biden. Well, it turned out it is. There are a bunch of us who just didn't think that was possible. So are they so reckless they would do it a second time? I think the answer is they're reckless enough. Do they think it'll work? That's the big question. And then there's the other thing, the other options that are out there, right? The other possibilities. Who was at the New York State Democrat convention recently? None other than Ms. Hillary Clinton. Here she is, clip 9.
They will do nothing to invest in our schools or make college more affordable. They'll ban books, but do nothing about guns. They'll make it harder for people to vote, but easier for big corporations to bust unions. They'll let polluters trash our environment and let Donald Trump trash our democracy. That's why I intend to work my heart out to elect Democrats up and down the ticket this November.
They'll ban books, but they'll do nothing about guns. I cannot believe this woman even got as far as she did in politics. It's pretty remarkable. I'm gonna put you on the spot right now, Clay. Who is more likable? Which is something that is talked about often in politics. People always say George W. Bush, other than the fact his dad was president and all that, but that his primary asset in politics was like Bill Clinton. I've met Republicans, I'm sure you have too, who have said Bill Clinton could walk in a room and say, hey, what's up? I want a hug, high five. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to her. I want to bring everybody close. Everyone says Bill Clinton had this amazing skill set for that. Who is more likable, Kamala or Hillary?
It's a phenomenal question. But let me say about Bill Clinton. I long for the days when all we had to worry about was a Democratic president screwing an intern as opposed to screwing the entire country like what we're seeing happen with Joe Biden right now, right? So I would give anything to have some measure of small competence. I would trade Monica Lewinsky for 7.5% inflation in a heartbeat. I'll tell you that right now. So in terms of scandals. Now, that is such a great question. Who is more likable? I think it's Hillary. I think Hillary is more likable than Kamala Harris. And I understand there can be a debate out there. But to me, what is Kamala's calling card? She doesn't have any kids, right? Like Hillary at least has the opportunity, whether you like it or not. She's a grandma. She had a daughter. She had a family. Kamala Harris is married to a white lawyer. She has no kids of her own. She seems so wildly uncomfortable in everything that she does. And she has never had, in my mind, Kamala Harris has a 38% approval rating in California right now, Buck. Do you know how hard it is for a Democrat minority woman who is the first vice president in the country to have a 38% approval rating in California?
Well, see, this is why
starting with a rig job. It's like she got the exam questions in advance and still got an F. And maybe had an open book too, and she's still failing.
This is why Hillary's emergence on the scene, right? You're Hillary
She's going to be the nominee.
If you're a normal, see it, folks. He's calling the shot. He's pointing to the upper deck. He's pointing the upper deck. And
I'm telling you, it's going to be Hillary.
It's amazing, man, because you think about this. A normal person, which is clearly not what Hillary Clinton is, who did not have a hole in her soul that could only be filled with power and prestige, right? A normal person at this point in Hillary would say, time to spend time with the grandkids, write the memoirs, do other things, think about life, think about where we're all heading. You know what I mean? Not Hillary. She is not done, not even a little bit. And you can just tell the kind of rhetoric and the things that she's saying and the way she's out there. Here she is talking about the 2020 election and Donald Trump. Play 11.
America is only as strong as our unity and our democracy allows us to be. That's why New York must be not just the home of the Statue of Liberty, we must be the defenders of liberty. Not just a laboratory of democracy, but a protector of democracy. And we must reject the big lie about the 2020 election and the cover-up of the insurrection of last January 6th.
The insurrection. Can we just stop for a second here, Clay? First of all, she's horrible. And second of all, the cover-up of the insurrection, CNN is basically the, quote, insurrection channel. Find me a random day, and there's about a 30% chance, if you look up at the screen, it'll be, turns out one of the people arrested on the January 6th insurrection is a coffee drinker. You're like, wait, what? How is this even a news story?
Well, I mean, first of all, Hillary propagated the idea that our democracy is broken by arguing that she won the 2016 election, but for Russian interference for 5 years. And she just recently delivered what would have been her speech if she had won and shattered that glass ceiling in New York. I mean, Hillary is a total hypocrite. And this is why I say, Buck, that we need a complete ass kicking in 2022 and in 2024. Because let's be honest, if you look at the history of elections in the 21st century for president, 2000, question of who won. 2004, Democrats say, what happened in Ohio? There's no way Kerry lost to George W. Bush. 2008, really, Buck, I would argue, is the only election where people have said, okay, Obama beat McCain, where both parties acknowledged what actually happened. 12, there's a dispute. 16, there's a dispute. 20, there's a dispute. You know when there's not a dispute? When somebody wins by an overwhelming electoral college majority and just really kicks ass.
Well,
and I think that's what we need to see in 24. Whoever the Republican nominee is has to win big.
The good news is if it's enough of a wave, any one individual race, right, they may get really contentious. And you remember the Norm Coleman, Al Franken race up in Minnesota, where it was down to a couple of hundred votes. I think it might have even been less than that as a margin at one point, and they were magically finding ballots for Franken in the trunks of cars. Oh yeah, look how that happens. So that there might be shenanigans like that, but if you're talking about a 20, 30 vote majority for Republicans in the House and maybe picking, by the way, the Senate map could be a little better from what I said. It's a little. I think they're going to. But as long as you have at least one house in the hand, or rather one part of Congress in the hands of the Republicans, it'll limit the damage the loony left can do. And then we're really just focusing in on the presidential election. And, there's definitely one guy I feel like might run on the right as the Republican nominee. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk to him on Tuesday. Maybe we'll have a little chat with former President Donald Trump about whether his plans are up. Let's just say, has he decided or not?